It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. He's become an old friend of ours. Joe Bills is with us, associate editor for the Old Farmers Almanac, and the 2026 edition is out. Our visit with Joe, presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row now in the Best of Indiana County contest. You can visit them online at marcusandmack.com. Joe, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Well, I'm glad you're back. We had you just a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about planting in the fall and all of that. Now here comes the new edition of the Farmers Almanac, which is now available. And we're talking the winter weather forecast.
We are. I'm always a little torn this time of year because personally, in my day-to-day life, I'm clinging desperately to summer. But it is, as far as my work life goes with the Old Farmers Almanac, it is time everybody wants to talk about those winter forecasts that we just released. And the news is a little different in your area than it is for most of the country, actually.
Yeah, it actually is. As you look at it and see what is being predicted for our area, it's a different winter than we've had in quite some time.
Yes. So we've got a combination of factors that gets pretty technical and quickly takes me out of my knowledge depth, but there's something called the North Atlantic Oscillation, which is a low-pressure system, and that's causing a change in the jet stream. So even though most of the country will be, on the mild side with average to maybe more precipitation than usual, there's a swath from sort of the Great Lakes all the way down to Florida, which runs right through you guys, unfortunately, or fortunately if you're excited for old-fashioned winter. But colder than normal temperatures is what we're looking at for you guys, and the precipitation will be below normal. Mm-hmm. So a little cold, a little dry, but kind of a good old-fashioned winter.
Yeah, but we're okay.
With a little less snow than maybe the old-fashioned winters had.
Yeah, I think we're okay with the precipitation being a little bit lower. We've had such a dry August and start to September that we do need a rain, but I think that's not going to be a real problem overall. But, when you think about winter cold, certain regions of the country, we're so used to it that it's not a big deal, is it?
No, it's something we deal with the same thing here in the Northeast. It's like we kind of grumble about the cold. We love to complain about it. We go right from complaining about how hot it is in the summer to complaining about how cold it is in the winter. Mm-hmm. But we feel a little ripped off if we make it through winter and we don't actually get any of that cold weather. So this will scratch the itch this year. We've been kind of in this overall warming trend for a while now, and while much of the country still is, you guys get a little throwback.
Yeah. Well, the Old Farmers Almanac is about much more than just the winter weather forecast, or even more than about the planting conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago for the fall. There's so much more that is packed within the pages of the Old Farmers Almanac, and it's out this year. Joe, what are some of the big highlights that you so much enjoy?
So we cast a pretty wide net, as you mentioned, and the staples of the Old Farmers Almanac are, weather and information about farming and astrology and astronomy, but even beyond our sort of information about the tides, all that sort of thing, all of that is always in the almanac. But we try to supplement that with casting as wide a net as we possibly can. In this issue, of course, this year is the 250th birthday of the United States. Mm-hmm. So to sort of mark that, we tell the story of Mary Pickersgill, who is the woman who also happened to have been born in 1776. But in 1814, she's the one who created the flag that was flying over Fort McHenry, obviously was witnessed by Francis Scott Key, who wrote a poem that became a song that became our national anthem. Mm-hmm. That all happened because of Mary Pickersgill. That's not a name most people know, so we tell her story. We have a really fun story about the Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams, the magical baseball season of 1941, just as the world was sort of moving into, or the United States was on the brink of moving into the World War. DiMaggio and Williams put on an amazing offensive baseball performance that year with DiMaggio's hit streak, Ted Williams hitting 400 for the last time. And the perfect distraction from some pretty awful stuff going on in the world. Mm-hmm. And then not even to be earthbound, we have a really fun story about the ever-increasing problem with space junk in our atmosphere, which is fascinating and kind of mind-bending.
Yeah. Or as it's referred to in the almanac, galactic garbage.
Galactic garbage it is. And we all rely on our satellite-based, our cell phones, all this technology. Mm-hmm. But the reality is we still don't have a terrific answer to what to do with this stuff once its life expectancy is up. And there's more and more of it up there. At one point, they had the absolutely horrible idea that maybe we could blast it out of the sky. And what they learned very quickly was that turned one big piece of space junk that you had to avoid into a million little pieces of space junk that you had to avoid. That was not progress at all. So.
Yeah. And that's a really fascinating read when you get right down to it. One of the other things that we love about the Almanac is and the way that you approach the idea of some of the basic foods and minerals that we ingest that are so beneficial to us, and we might not even be aware that we're getting those benefits. I love the article on the healing power of honey. We hear so much more about honey these days, but honey and aromatic house plants, those are great things to read about, and maybe they even change a few lives.
Absolutely, and it's funny how everything that's old becomes new again, and honey's having a moment again. But the reality is, humans have been turning to honey for its seemingly magical properties really since before recorded history. I mean, this is something that we've known about since I would speculate probably cave days, and we don't. We may not have been able to specify what it was about the honey, but we knew that it was delicious and that it helped with a ton of different things, and it still does. So we kind of explore both that history and sort of where we're at today and the amazing array of things that honey's being used for.
Yeah, honey does more than just soothe the occasional sore throat.
It's really good in your tea, too, though.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. There's another fascinating article, and we could do this all day long, talking about what you're reading in the Old Farmers Almanac. The 2026 edition is out there now. But I really like the article about gardening like it's 1776.
Again, everything that's old is new again. That's kind of maybe the unwitting theme for this issue. I don't know that we knew that we were doing that, but and it is back in the old days when we were a more agricultural based economy and country. It was extremely common for folks to have what they call a kitchen garden. You might have acres and acres of fields that you were growing as a crop, but you'd also have your little kitchen garden a little closer to the house. Often that would be tended by the female members of the household, and that grew things that you were going to put on your table and you were going to eat. If you wanted herbs, if you wanted vegetables, if you wanted that sort of stuff, that's where that came from. And there's a huge trend, not only getting back to traditions like that, but also stripping away a lot of the chemicals and the sort of modern things that we've come to rely on, and looking back at some of those, how we used to do it before we had those crutches to lean on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really part of the tradition of the Old Farmers Almanac and why everybody wants to get their hands on it, in addition to Journey to the Junkosphere, which is the article on the galactic garbage. It's really fascinating as always. So, Joe, what should people do to get their hands on it, and also to visit the online version?
Yeah, so you'll find us online at almanac.com. Doesn't get much simpler than that. We are, of course, available in major retailers across the country. Like everything else in the universe, we're available on Amazon. But on our website, you will find a lot of information that's in this almanac and a whole lot more. But right up at the top of the front page, there's a little where to buy button, and we've restructured that button now so it brings up a list organized state by state. It'll tell you everywhere in your state that you can buy the Old Farmers Almanac. It's a really handy place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing. The Almanac is out for this year, the Old Farmers Almanac. Joe Bills, good to talk with you again.
Always a pleasure. Let's do it again.
Have a great day and week and weekend and winter.
You as well. Enjoy that chilly burst.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com.